Hello and welcome to the MOOcast. This is episode 10 already. I can't believe it. We need some party hats and favors here, but all we had is pizza. Sorry. We are here again with Mike O'Mara and
Greg Obert
and
Andrea Musolf.
And we're here to bring the best of the Moo straight to you. And this week we're watching some game footage by Andrea. Andrea, what are you playing here?
Right now I started off with some Modern Warfare 2.
Your old favorite, your old flame.
Of course. I felt like I had to put some Modern Warfare 2 stuff.
Right.
So, I don't snipe, so I thought I'd, try something
Give
a
it a
little
whirl?
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing super amazing, but...
Right, so no spoilers yet, but how did it turn out for you?
I went positive.
Whoa, look at you!
So that's always a plus for me in
Right.
any Call of Duty game. So.
Right. All right,
Yeah.
Cool, so we'll be watching some gameplay that Andrea captured this week, and in the meantime, let's talk about what we've been playing. So, I guess, Andrea, let's start with you, since we're...
Well, obviously, I played Modern Warfare 2. A little later on, I have some footage from Black Ops and Halo Reach. One of my favorite game modes in Halo Reach is Team SWAT.
Right.
So I have two games. One is from last year, and another one is from about 2 weeks ago.
So we'll see the evolution of Andrea gameplay.
The past and present.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Greg, what were you booting up this week?
I forced my way through Skyward Sword.
I've never heard anyone be so depressed about finishing a game.
It's just like, I love Zelda, and it's just, this one didn't do it for me. I think if I had a traditional controller in my hands, I would have enjoyed it more. It had its moments, but overall, it was a slog towards the end, I feel like. But, it's if you want to check it out, do it, but it's certainly not the first one I would say you should check out if you've never played Zelda before.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did some more Black Ops Zombies, and
You're continuing saga to get
really
every
trying.
single...
It didn't work out too well this week.
That's too bad.
But the big game that I played was Enslaved. I turned in some games at GameStop, and they're like, "Oh, you'll get a 30% bonus if you buy used games." I'm like, "Okay." So I saw Enslaved, and I heard, it was pretty good, so I gave it a shot, and I finished that in a couple days, and it was a really good game. I recommend it.
It's a single player only, right?
It's single player only. It's third person action, and it was good. It had some problems, but
It's one of those post-apocalyptica games, right?
It is.
You're like running across the world with some chick.
It's supposedly based on some chick. It's supposedly based on the Chinese book Journey to the West, but I've never read the original source material. But I think this takes some liberties. At least I would assume so, considering there's giant robots.
Well, right, I don't think in the ancient Chinese text it said, and the giant robots
and the
were
giant
there.
robots were there. Yeah,
Right.
But it's good. I recommend if you get the time, play it.
Okay, cool.
What have you been playing, Mike?
I went with my lovely wife on a vacation for a couple of days, and I just got back, so I didn't have a lot of time this week to game, but with the time I did have, I downloaded and have very much enjoyed Deadlight, the Summer of Arcade game. I got that when it came out, so I've only had about 2 or 3 hours into it, but I really, really love it, and we'll talk about it in a little bit when we talk about some original art style in games. But so I did play some of that. I played a little bit more Left 4 Dead 2 before I went on my vacation. I was hoping for the Cold Stream to come out before. Of course, we all know that it's out now, but it wasn't out before my vacation. So as soon as we get done with this podcast, I'm going to go home and boot that up. But I played some regular vanilla Left 4 Dead 2 before I left, and more Max Payne 3 multiplayer. I can't get enough of it, so I'm still playing that on the multiplayer side of things. So that was my week.
So you played real life, is what you're saying.
I played real life.
You went on a trip.
I went to the beach, and I put down my controller for a second and saw the sun, blinked at the sun, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of days. So now I return burned to the crisp on my arms and legs, and ready to get back to my man cave.
Hey.
So let's get into our topics for this week as we see Andrea sniping over her favorite. That's your favorite flag, isn't it? Isn't that like one of your favorite flags, the one on that bridge there?
No, actually, Underpass has never been one of my favorite maps in
Really?
Modern Warfare 2. So when I got this one yesterday, I was like, oh, really?
Oh.
But part of the reason I went with the sniping is because I have the thermal scope on it.
Right.
So, plus, I forget. I can't remember if he's on my team or the other team, but there's a gamer tag called Grr, I'm a Shark.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I thought it was hilarious. Now, I think after the host migration, he left, but I preferred him as a player because I thought his gamer tag was awesome.
That is a pretty cool gamer
Grr,
tag.
I'm a shark. Next will be like, Moo, I'm a horse.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know many sharks in the wild that go grr, so maybe they do and we just don't know because they're underwater. So maybe the whole time they're going grr. Who knows? So anyways, okay. So Greg, you wanted to start us off this week with a French company we all know and love.
Yeah, a French company we all know and love. So
And can't pronounce.
Ubisoft. I don't know.
Ubi.
I'm going to call it Ubisoft. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. But I read an article this week about how Ubisoft was kind of complaining a bit about just about the end of the console generation.
Right.
And I was like, why would you be complaining about that?
Right.
Because, as the cycle goes, like, developers get better with developing games for a certain system. They learn all the loopholes and everything, so they make better products.
Sure.
But they were saying, well, we don't like it because we don't like... It's harder for us to release new IPs, intellectual properties, towards the end of a cycle. And when asked why that is, apparently, according to them, buying trends suggest that people are more willing to get sequels and things that they know towards the end of a console generation than invest in something new.
Right.
And I read that, and I couldn't believe it, for one, because I don't agree with that at all. But here, on the one hand, this company is saying it's so hard for us to invest in new IPs.
Right.
Yet they won pretty much the best new IP, like across the board, I think, for their upcoming game, Watch Dogs.
Right? Yeah, right. Watch Dogs. Yeah, the tech one.
Yeah, and
Cybernetic
so
one.
I'm really looking forward to that game.
Right. Me
and
too.
I don't understand why they're complaining about it. And I know for me personally, the only reason I would buy sequels towards the end of a console cycle is because that's all that's being released towards the end of a console cycle.
The only choice we have, yeah.
So, I don't know, like, what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I think, as a consumer, I think that is true. Whether that's the best thing or not for the industry, I don't know. But I do know, personally, like, if I know I'm going to get the next Xbox and they're going to come out with... I don't know if they're going to do that this generation, but I know the last time this happened, a couple games came out for both systems. So they came out for the original Xbox, and then they came out with a super enhanced version for Xbox 360. And of course, like, I just waited because I knew I was going to get the new system too. So I do think if it was an original IP and they were going to make like this enhanced one for the next Xbox, and they were going to make a regular one for this one, I would just wait. But if it was a sequel that I'd only get the story once, I'd only get it on 360, I would probably still buy it on 360. So I think that buying trend is probably true for me. Whether that is good or not, I don't know. But I can see their point on the business side, even if I don't agree with it. I'd like to see more original IPs, but...
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You're saying, like, if a game is released on both systems, you're going to buy it on the new system.
Oh, heck yeah.
But if it's a new IP, you're going to buy it anyways.
If it's a new IP and I really want to... Yes, yeah, absolutely, yes. If it's original, I would get it.
So, like, we're all kind of assuming that next year, the next Xbox, next PlayStation will be out. So, like, if a new IP came out, in, like, August of next year, like, would you be willing to buy that?
Only if it was only going to come out on the 360.
Not like a split,
No, if it wasn't a split, I would get it for 360, yes.
Okay. Andrea?
Yeah, I think... Well, okay, I know I'm going to get the new system.
Of course you will. Why would you be here?
I think if it's something that I really wanted to play, like I really wanted to play, I would probably get it, so I'd have it on both. However,
you would? On both?
If I wanted it bad enough, but like for most of the time, I usually wait when I get stuff, except like for Call of Duty.
Well, right.
That's pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Halo
course.
4. But anything else, like I'm fine just waiting. Maybe the price will come down a little bit. That's always a plus.
Right.
But I think for the most part, if it was going to come out on the new system, and I had to wait a couple months, fine. Then I'd rather just have the one game on the new system.
Right. So give an example of one that you would actually buy both. Like you would just go so crazy over that you would get it for both. Like what type of original IP would fire you up so much you just have to get it right now? Something that is not called Call of Duty or Halo.
Gosh, those are the first two that come to mind.
Well, right.
I would have to, I don't know, just what I hear about a game or...
Look at you placing the tactical insertion.
Yeah, I know. And that's another thing. I almost never use it, except on my sniping class. Mm-hmm. My team did pull ahead. But anyway, if with the advertisements and what I hear about the game, if I think it's something that I would like, I'll probably get it. Yeah, it's hard to give an example that's not Halo or Call of Duty, because, I mean, let's face it, those are the big games that I play.
It's true.
So anything else, like, for example, Red Dead, I absolutely love. That I didn't get until way after the fact. I heard about it. Probably not the best example, but yeah. So I just have to hear about it, and it would have to just be interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second here. I see some split screen.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
Okay, so the top is me, Musolf, 35, and the bottom, huge frigate. That is my brother Mark. So we decided to do Hidden on Spec Ops, and we're doing it completely not how you're supposed to.
No.
It's going to be a speed shotgun round. So see how fast you can get through the level and live while shooting things with a shotgun.
Always fun.
Yeah. So a little twist on how you're actually supposed to do the mission.
Oh. Did you find it to be fun? Was it a fun run?
Yeah, it was actually. It was Mark's idea. I'm like, well, okay, might as well record this for the
that's
the
pretty
capture
cool.
card. So yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
So okay. So one of the games I said that I downloaded in the past week was Deadlight, this new post-apocalyptic zombie game. And I really love it for a couple of reasons, but two of the main ones are where and when it's set. It's set in the Pacific Northwest in an alternate 1986. I believe it's 1986. It might be 1985. And you don't really see that many games set in the 80s, I want to say. If you guys can name some, like, I thought that was really cool.
Oh, GTA Vice City.
Oh, GTA Vice City.
That
Okay,
game.
okay. So, but I think that was the only one that I thought of too. I can't really.
I can't think of any other ones.
It's because nobody likes the 80s.
Except for me, I love the 80s.
Everything's pink in that game.
Well,
it's
right,
amazing.
yeah. So the alternate 80s I really liked, and I'll explain why in a second. But the other thing I really liked about Deadlight is its original art direction. I really liked that it's a platformer that has a lot of depth, has a lot of 3D depth to the levels, and it also adds to the tone of the game, the way it looks. So, like, you never really see your character's face. It's almost always in complete darkness, and you never really see so the enemies in the games are zombies. It's like a zombie apocalypse, but you never really see their features, too. So they're kind of, it makes them scarier because they are walking or running or clawing at you, but you can't really, like, they're so depersonalized, but so are you. So the things that you are doing are kind of depersonalized, too, because you never really see how your character is reacting to it facially, which I really dig, and it just gives an overall creepy vibe, which is so cool for zombie games. So I was thinking, are there any other games like that you guys can remember where, like, the art direction really became a major point of interest for you to continue playing the game? Like, it wasn't just like, I mean, obviously gameplay is always important, and other things can be important, but art direction is one thing that I think that people overlook a lot of times. So is there any other game that you can recall from your experience that has that same kind of effect on you?
Oh, good question. I'm just trying to go through some of the games I've played in my head. The first one that comes to mind, that's certainly different from some of the other games I played, Castle Crashers.
Right.
That cartoony style.
Right.
Just, I think, adds to how ridiculous that game is.
Uh-huh.
Just, I remember the first time I played it going through some forest or whatever, and the pooping animals. It was just so funny to me because I didn't expect it. There's that bear, super scary, that, just poops, and, like, there's deer propelled by poop.
Right.
I don't know, so I just think all in all, the cartoon game just adds to the ridiculousness.
Right, so in that game, it's the same kind of thing. Like, the way that the art is presented kind of, like, adds to the tone of the story.
Exactly.
Like, it makes you smile because you look, it's like you are controlling a comic book. Like Greg, got any games on your...
Oh, I have a ton.
Name one.
Well, more recently, I think Limbo is one. I mean, just that very black and white.
Right.
You know, it's a very interesting kind of take on a 2D world. But some of the bigger ones that I'm thinking of, Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda Wind Waker.
Okay, yeah.
I'll admit, I was a skeptic when I first saw the trailers for that game. You know, the Zelda and all that. But
Zelda.
you know, it was a gorgeous game, and I loved exploring that world. It was great. But I think I would be remiss if I did not talk about pretty much anything that came out of Clover Studios.
Right.
Rest in peace. I know I loved playing Beautiful Joe. That art style was really cool.
Right.
I never played the second one, unfortunately. Maybe one of these days I'll have to do that. But I'd say probably one of the most beautiful games I've ever played was Okami. I don't know if either of you have played that game.
It looks like a Japanese watercolor.
Oh my gosh, it was so beautiful, and the story was fantastic. And I was surprised at how long the game kept going. It kept pulling like a Lord of the Rings. Like I thought it was going to end, but then just a whole nother section opened up. And, you know, I'm not much of a handheld guy anymore, so I haven't played the sequel on the DS, but I hope that they revisit that world on a console someday.
They're bringing the original one back HD style for PS3.
Yeah, well, I don't have PS3, so
you have to come over and play it.
But I do have it on the Wii, and it's still a lot of fun. Motion controls aren't as good as a PlayStation 2 controller was, but yeah, it's great. That's definitely a game. If you're talking about art direction, art style, Okami, definitely get that.
I would add to the discussion BioShock and BioShock 2 for me, like just the way that is like realistic, but in there's something about the colors that gets me, especially the crazy costume masks that the people wear in one. Like that was just added to how freaky it was to me that they had these like 1920s really bright high contrast color masks on all the time. That freaked me out.
Yeah, the bunny masks.
Oh, God. Especially when someone's like, "Ren the Flash!" Like, when they're wearing a bunny mask. Like, that's the scariest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So, yeah. Any thoughts, Andrea? Art direction? Games?
I was trying to think of some other ones that I've played.
Andrea doesn't like art.
No, it's not
art
that.
Sucks.
I was just, I've never really thought about that before. I think most of the time when I play a game, for me, it's really more about the story.
Right.
How involved am I with, how much do I really get into the story?
Right.
Again, for something like Call of Duty, not really the best story, but I like multiplayer. So
right, sure, yeah.
For me, it's more about the multiplayer or the story. And now I'm trying to think more about the art direction, but coming up short on some games, but Castle Crashers was the first one I thought of. I think I'll be thinking about that more this week.
I will add two more: Borderlands.
Oh, okay.
And Skyrim. And I know
Skyrim,
I know that kind of both of those are kind of cliche. Borderlands because it's got that cel shaded yet kind of pseudo realistic shooter vibe to it. But I really, really love. I don't know if you guys have either played Borderlands at all, but it's really, really cool. It's got an RPG element to the scoring of hits, so it's got a D&D type thing going on in the background. When you shoot a guy, it's like taking off hit points like an RPG, but it does it in real time in the like. The effects and things that would be like dice rolls in a D&D game come popping off of your enemy. So as you're shooting him, like it'll go like 26, 26, 26, 26, 26, and that's hit points. So it's got that RPG thing to it, but it allows you to still be playing a shooter with one-to-one, like response, just like any other a first-person shooter. So it doesn't take away from the shooter, but it still stays true to the RPG element by doing like that. And also, it looks like a movable comic book. I mean, it's got an awesome cel-shade look to it. And Skyrim is just like one of the best things I think about that game for me is that if someone else is playing the game, and by someone else I mean my wife because she plays it all the time at our house. If I am watching that game, I have almost as much enjoyment as when I am playing it myself, because it is so beautiful. If you just stop anywhere in that world and just look, it looks like a painting to me. Like, if you just look at the waterfalls, look at the castles, look at anything, it's just gorgeous. So
no, I agree. I can't believe now. Of course, you said Skyrim. That's one of the games I've been playing.
Yeah.
Most, and yeah, I actually do when I'm wandering around.
Oh, if you just sit there.
Like, oh, look how pretty.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Like, especially the water. I love the waterfalls in the game. It's just incredible.
I'll even bring up real quick, just to be relevant, I guess, Halo Reach.
Right, since we're watching it.
I go back and I look at Halo 3, and it's kind of cartoony.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not bad.
No.
But I really like the more realistic approach that Bungie took. And it's realistic, but it's still colorful at the same time.
Right, exactly. It's still sci-fi. It's
yeah.
Still,
So I feel like I need to mention that since we're watching it.
And oh my god, have you seen the new stuff from 4?
Oh my god.
Oh
my god.
Yeah. Talk about realistic, but also lots of color and lots of sci-fi awesomeness.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that game. Okay, so Game Informer article. Who's talking about this one?
I am.
Okay.
So I read an article on Game Informer.
Oh,
Obviously.
slow clap.
Yeah, right. From a guy, I think the author's name was Josh.
Okay.
And currently, as of right now, what is it today? August 5th. It's
August 5th?
On their top heading.
Okay.
And it's an article about game accessibility.
Okay.
And not so much in the sense of like, hardcore versus casual, but like physical like handicaps.
Oh, okay.
Or any sort of handicaps for games. And so he mentions, the big example that he brings up is he loves the Uncharted series.
Okay.
And so there was one point in Uncharted 2 where you have to open up a door, and to open up the door you have to repeatedly mash on the triangle button. But he didn't go into like what his specific physical disability was, but for whatever reason he could not push the triangle button
do it fast
enough.
Yeah.
So, for him, what he had to do is get somebody else to do it for him, and then he could continue the game. And it was fine, for the rest of the game.
Right.
But it got me thinking, again, I'm very blessed. I don't need to think about such things when I play a game.
Right.
But, like, how do you go about making things more accessible for people who might not be able to? And, his suggestion was maybe you have an option instead of having to rapidly mash the triangle button. What about just holding it down?
Right.
For a point like that. Like, there's no reason to make the game easier. Like, you don't have to dumb it down. But for specific
puzzles aren't any
sections
easier.
like that. Right. And, one of my own personal examples is my brother is autistic.
Okay.
And so over one of my Christmas breaks when I was in college, well, I guess it would have been or whenever Portal 2 came out, whenever that was. Last year?
Last year.
Last year, maybe over the summer, spring break, something.
I love that game.
I went home, and he's not very willing to try new things.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, he was like, yeah, I'll do co-op with you. And so I was able to actually play through the entire co-op campaign with him over the course of a couple days, and for him, that was, like, astounding. Like,
right.
Because he just doesn't really try new things, and it's a puzzle game, So he's not going to be... I've never seen him voluntarily sit down and want to play a puzzle game. But for whatever reason, with the co-op aspect and me being there, he felt comfortable enough to play a game that, heck, for me at times, was very challenging.
It's difficult, yeah.
And so... I just think it's so cool that someone like Valve could make a game that accessible. Now, with that said, you don't need to make all simple games like Portal, because the concept of Portal is really simple. I enjoy having the intense, gritty type games, and I'm hoping to play Spec Ops soon, just because of that. Or even Enslaved had some very intense moments. So I wouldn't want those to go anywhere, but how do you make something more accessible to people with mental handicaps or people with physical handicaps? And the other point that I thought when reading this article was, look at this huge push for motion controls.
Right.
I'm thinking, I was annoyed with how much Skyward Sword forced, motion controls down my throat.
Right.
But imagine, loving the Zelda series, and such as myself, and playing it all the way up until Twilight Princess, and you're able to maybe have the traditional controller with the GameCube version, but then getting to Skyward Sword and just physically not being able to play through one of your most beloved series.
Right.
And it's kind of an interesting thought for me, and I really appreciated the insight on that. I was wondering if either of you had maybe some comments about that.
I definitely have a story from the physical side of it. In 2005, I had a horrible hand injury, and I was told that I might lose use of my left hand, and I was really lucky because I'm also a professional musician. Eventually, I got that back, but there was lingering motion damage for a while that I had to work with physical therapists to get back from. And there will be permanent nerve damage in my hand. So there are parts on my fingers on my left hand that just don't feel. They don't feel like normal, feeling feels, I guess. And so one of the most frustrating things for me, aside from my career and my life as a musician, was as a gamer, those months when I could not move my left hand. It was just stuck, and the tendons weren't ready to do what they needed to do yet. I just couldn't hold a controller with both hands. It just wouldn't work. And even now, I think one of the main reasons I don't play my PS3 nearly as much as my Xbox is that the Xbox controller is more ergonomically molded to my hands than the PS3 one. And my thumb on my left side just doesn't move as well as my right one because of this injury. And so sometimes I get so frustrated that I just can't do the minute movements of the PS3. I just quit playing. I just switched to Xbox because of that. So I could definitely feel where people are coming from. Thank goodness I don't have any mental handicaps to deal with. But I think what you're saying is an important point, and game companies should be thinking of how to navigate both accessibility for mental and physical handicaps by making, I think, alternate ways of controlling and maybe alternate ways of solving puzzles too. Especially because we've got the technology now, they've got the storage capacity to do it, and how much longer would it take to really put that in,
With a little disclaimer, I understand that, you can't account for every type of disability, out there. But, I guess I just think about something like subtitles, how that is standard. Like, if your game doesn't have subtitles, that's weird.
Yeah.
So, for those people out there who are deaf, they can still play a game.
Right.
So, are there any other things that we could put in the games to accommodate for?
And we're seeing colorblind support now in many
just
shooters, because teams are always, color coded. So for people who are colorblind, obviously, that kind of stuff helps a lot. Audio cues, more audio cues for people who might be have some visual impairment, and vice versa. More visual cues for people who have audio impairment. And I think the final frontier is what to do with actual control. Because, things are made for certain controllers, so that's, I would think, would be the hardest one to cross. Like, how do you make that for multiple types of control? But
yeah,
I think they should do it. They should at least make the effort to do it. If they can put, a bajillion hours of soundtrack and a jillion hours of gameplay into, especially the systems that aren't out yet, they should be able to put there should be some alternate way of controlling things.
Yeah,
it's just becoming aware because with the colorblind assist, and it's a step in the right direction because I didn't see that until I think Black Ops was the first game I saw that, and so oh, okay, cool.
And it makes you think about it, like, oh my god,
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's an important thing. Yeah.
So good job, Josh,
and Game Informer,
for making me think.
So, Nintendo, speaking of Nintendo and Wind Waker and everything that they are up to, they are coming out with a new system. We think they're coming out with a new system because they keep saying they're coming out with a new system. See what we did there? See what we did there, you guys? So anyways, Supposedly, they're coming out with a new system, the Wii U, and supposedly, according to a GameStop employee who leaked it to the interwebs, there are 22 games lined up to be shipping November 13th of this year. But we know nothing as far as what are the exact specs on the system. They've said it's akin to a 360, but they don't really know. And what is the price? We don't really know. And what is the release date? We don't really know. All of this makes us a little skeptical here at the MooCast.
Yeah, I mean, it's already August. It's like, if it's supposed to come out around Christmas time.
Right. What are they afraid of?
Yeah.
What are they waiting for?
It's got to be done.
Do you think it's a cop-out?
I don't know.
Could it be a super cop-out? Could Nintendo say, nah, we're really just going to release one? Yeah.
Again.
So
yeah, just kidding again. Yeah.
We'll release it, re-release it next E3.
Right, yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really confused about it.
I think they're not confident. This speaks of a company to me that is not thinking that they're going to get anywhere with this.
Yeah, I mean, and that's possible. They've already shot themselves in the foot if the Wii U is, from what I've heard, it's akin to what we have now.
Right, because every other company's going to bury it. It's going to bury it in 9 months.
I mean, they just came out with HD for their system, and that's been around for a long time now. In technology years, that's been around for a long time.
Right.
So, I just have to ask, why does it seem like nobody is shooting you in this game?
Yeah, no one shot you this whole match.
Oh, they get me a couple times. Again, it's the same split screen. I'm on top, so I'm Moosewolf, and my brother, Huge Frigate, a.k.a.
He's got
Smart.
some dogs.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
He likes the shotgun and the tomahawk. Yeah, me not so much. I like my silenced tiger print, Galil, however you say it. That one gun. That one that I'm using. Yeah, I suppose I should take this time to back up the two Halo Reach games. The first one that was on Solitary, that was the one I played 2 weeks ago. I was pretty proud of that game. I think I finished first. I have to go back and look. But the score was really neck and neck, and my team pulled ahead at the end. And then the last one, Greg, I know it's really tiny on the screen, but I wanted to see if you caught on, because you're actually in that game. That was from...
I am?
Yeah. It was from a year ago. You were still Chaotic Drummer, so you weren't the Obert. And Tommy was in it, and Tommy's friend, Mike. Another Mike. Beefstick. And I was really proud of that game because I beat the boys.
Nice.
Number 1.
Go, girl.
Yeah. So this game that you're seeing now is obviously Nuketown on Black Ops, and
coming back for Black Ops 2, Nuketown 2025.
So this is combat training. It's one of those games that you like to play to boost your self-confidence with Call of Duty. I know I do. To get those insane kill streaks like the dogs and the attack chopper and all that good stuff. So this was, my brother set this game up. We set it to 300 kills, and it's like, just kill as many of the people as you can. And of course, it's on recruit because...
Right. Because why not?
Why not, exactly.
That's awesome. That's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
It's you murdering tons and tons of bots.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
Firefight for Call of Duty.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's pretty cool. Okay, so, perfect segue, everyone. Call of Duty. So, Modern Warfare 3 has got its last DLC coming out.
Yay!
It's true. Last 2 Spec Op missions.
Have they released any, footage or any,
Yeah, they have. I can't remember. One has something to do with dropping care packages for your partner. And...
Isn't that what Call of Duty, always has to do with?
Not in Spec Ops mission.
I guess not, yeah.
But I don't remember what the other one is. But
I hope it's better than the last 2. I was not a fan.
No?
Mm-mm.
No, they weren't high quality. It's just, I know Andrea and I were talking about this, and forgive me if we've talked about this before, but it's they make these maps now to cater to single players, and it's because in Modern Warfare 2 you had to have a partner. There was no option to play a Spec Ops mission solo.
Right.
But this you can do solo. Very few of them you need a partner, but most of them you can do solo. And so the last one that came out was you have to shoot down these helicopters, and single player you have a beefed up Stinger with a laser sight on it, and you can like guide the rocket and blow up the helicopter.
So stupid.
Which is fine. But then when you do co-op, one player has the beefed up Stinger, but then the other player has to use his or her gun with a laser sight to tag the helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like that.
It was just overly complicated for no reason. Like, they just totally shoehorned in that co-op just to make it harder, but it was like a stupid
Well, this is
way.
why the U.S. military is behind the Chinese, because we've got stupid guns like that.
Right.
I'm sure the Chinese, when they fire their rockets, the rocket just goes where the first guy wants the rocket to go. He doesn't need a second Chinese guy to go and be like, hey, rocket, go over there. We're falling behind, America.
So we should spend more on
More on rockets.
beefed up
Yeah,
Stingers.
beefed on rockets. Yeah, I mean, come on. Let's get to it. Or steal their design or something. Do what we do in the Olympics. Like, just steal their whole rocket team and make them coach ours. It's the problem.
But anyways, yeah, so the last 2 Spec Ops missions this month, and then next month, from what I read, was the last dose of multiplayer maps.
Oh, so more multiplayer maps, too. Okay,
and then
that's cool.
Modern Warfare 3 content season is over.
Over.
Oh, that's so sad.
So
Gosh,
then,
that went so fast.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
It seems like only yesterday we were freezing in the freezing rain and snow, waiting for it
Oh,
to
wow,
come
that's
out.
scary when you think about it, how fast a year went.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
But
Yep.
then we get to look forward to Zombies DLC.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, I'm assuming Black Ops 2 is going to have the same type system.
Yeah, you would so,
You subscribe to Elite, you get all the DLC.
Yeah.
So
And you know we all will. Like, let's not even play here. Like, we're all gonna keep doing Elite.
it's only because I got hooked on Zombies.
Right.
the past
But
month.
you will, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to talk a little bit of Star Wars here, because LucasArts president just stepped down today unexpectedly, and I can only hope that he did so because of his failure to bring me Battlefront 3. Yeah. Like, I will talk for an hour if we have to, but we don't have to. So I will just suffice it to say Battlefront 3 should have come out 3 years ago. My heart weeps every day that I do not have Battlefront 3. So bring it out, LucasArts. Bring it out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with the new management. Hopefully something.
They must be Battlefront 3 happy. That's all I have to say. And also in Star Wars news, the Old Republic, the MMO, has gone free to play, which I can only assume means what it means in every other MMO, which means you get one planet and like one cantina bar, and you sit there and you can't do anything past level 15 unless you pay them $50 anyway. Does anyone...
Now, is that for the whole game, or is it like like you pay every month sort of thing?
No, I think if it goes by any other model for free-to-play, it means that you can log in, you can create a character, you can do whatever you want up to a certain level, but the only way that you're ever going to get more levels or cooler, like, weapons and stuff is to buy them. Like microtransactions. So it would be like $1 for a new lightsaber or something.
Well, that's stupid.
Okay, well, I think on that note, I think we'll wrap it up for this week. So please remember to view us and like us on the Facebooks, and please on YouTube leave some comments if you like our video, if you want to see different games played, or if you just want to tell Andrea that she rules at Call of Duty. I'm sure she'd appreciate that. And
I would, but I don't really.
You don't really what, rule or appreciate it?
I wouldn't say I'm super awesome at Call of Duty. Now,
I think you're pretty darn good.
If this were actually multiplayer, oh man, I would be like jumping up and down right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I mentioned it before. I'm still waiting for the day when I can get a tactical nuke in Modern Warfare 2.
Oh my god. Well, keep waiting.
Yeah.
I know. I was so close before. It's not going to happen now. Anyway.
Okay, so on that, unlike Mass Effect 3, we will give you the ending that you want. So, wrapping up this week, as we do every week, this is Mike and Greg and Andrea, and we say... Moo.